So, Mr. Excalibur, coming to you, first tell me your five strength.
Okay, sir. That would be, sir, flexibility, adaptability, analytical approach,
Mhm.
sound mental and physical fitness,
Mhm.
and social nature, sir.
Okay, and Mr. Singh, coming to you,
Yes, sir.
tell me your
Yes,
five weaknesses on which you want to work upon to join before joining IB.
okay, sir. The first thing, sir, I would say that since I have eyes for intricacies of things, so I get into the details of things. So at times it takes me a bit longer to do the task.
Mm.
So this is one thing that I'm trying to balance. So second, sir, I feel, sir, at times I get into the work so much that it affects my health.
Mhm.
So having a work health balance is something that I'm also working on.
Mhm.
So third, I would say, sir, uh, I I think I tends to help people, and at times they realize that they are trying to get over advantage of this. So I'm trying to fix a balance between my IQ and EQ. And sir, other are, sir, some of the basic things that I'm working on. Like, sir, earlier I was not able to cook for myself, but this is something that I have learned in the lockdown, and I'm working to improve further.
Mm.
And sir, also, sir, regarding my physical health, sir, because of lockdown, sir, the physical activities had get lessened. So I have started doing some of the works like skipping, and I'm further looking to increase more my physical abilities, sir, physical health.
Mm. Mr. Singh, if you have
Of my
this
point.
this much of weaknesses, then I think you are not a suitable guy to join IB. You shouldn't go in intelligence bureau with this much of weaknesses.
So this the weaknesses that that I have mentioned, sir. This is something that I have been working on, and
Mhm.
sir, I feel I can cope up with any situation that comes in with me.
Mhm.
Having after getting a proper training, I think I can handle situations, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Excalibur, tell me what is the exact effect of Talibani ideology in our Indian people, as we have seen that after making government in Afghanistan of Taliban government, then there is some issues with people of India.
Okay, sir. The, sir, very recent and quite major cascading effect on India after Taliban regime has taken over is the drug menace, sir. We are constantly finding a lot of contrabands that are being smuggled into Indian territory,
So,
particularly
wait,
through, sir, coastal
wait,
areas.
Mr. Excalibur, I am talking here
Yes, sir.
to ideology of Taliban. People of India is adopting the ideology of Taliban and promoting the ideology of Taliban and enjoying that government is making there. That's the
Okay,
ideology
sir.
I'm talking there.
Okay, sir. The Taliban ideology, if I am to mention, sir, is that they won a war against much stronger adversary, which is the US, which is one of the strongest nations in the world itself. So the narrative they have built up is that they can fight any war and they can win any war against a formidable enemy as well. So in that sense, sir, we have seen that this has penetrated into Kashmir as well. As we can see that there has been a rise in hybrid terrorism and not through the already established entities such as JEM and LET. So in that sense, sir, the lone wolves and the hybrid terrorism is an ideology which caters to young people taking arms against the state itself, which is already a formidable enemy. So in that sense, the ideology has penetrated into Jammu and Kashmir as well, sir.
Okay, Mr. Singh, coming to you,
Yes, sir.
I am telling this question in Hindi so that I can explain in better way. Mr. Singh,
Yes, sir.
तालिबानी आइडियोलॉजी भारत में कुछ लोग प्रमोट कर रहे हैं, कुछ लोग इंजॉय कर रहे हैं कि तालिबान की सरकार वहां पर बन चुकी है, जैसा कि मिस्टर एक्सकैलिबर ने एक्सप्लेन किया। तो आप
Yes, sir.
इन चीजों को रोकने के लिए या इनके काउंटर में कुछ एक्शन लेने के लिए किस तरह के सॉल्यूशंस को आप बताना चाहेंगे हमें?
Okay, sir. Sir, as a country, sir, we can have a foreign policy that through which we can communicate with the people, communicate with the power that is ruling in Afghanistan, so as to promote the cordial relation between the two nations, sir. This is one at the diplomatic level, sir. The second, I would work on the security front, sir. I would try to enhance the security mechanism that is there in our states like J&K, where there is more probability of people, the young people getting radicalized by the extremist group. So this is second, sir. Third, I would say the government needs to have a check and measure balance on different social media sites and handles that used to promote these extreme activities, and through which we can counter these things. So these are the basic things that I would recommend.
Okay, Mr. Excalibur, coming to you again. Now, recently, Mr. Ajit Dovalji had said that relating to civil society. Tell me that statements only.
Sir, he said that civil society is the new front of modern warfare, sir.
Okay. Now you have to give 5 points against this statement. Now tell me 5 points against this statement.
Yes, sir. Can I take a few seconds, sir?
Yeah, definitely. Mr. Singh, also you can remember all 5 points against this statement given by Mr. Doval.
Okay, sir.
Hmm.
First would be, sir, that we have seen that all the major countries in the world, including India, are still trying to get up a lot of territorial armaments, such as we have just inducted S-400, we are developing missiles. So in that sense, territorial wars, the physical wars are still in very much in practice, sir, and are very much a threat. Other than that, sir, second would be, sir, the nuclear proliferation. Even though there are non-proliferation treaties signed, but countries are still developing nuclear arms. So in that sense, sir, people's front is still weak, sir. Third would be, sir, India is an ancient civilization, and any such tactics such as subversion or sabotage of Indian population has not resulted any fruit for in ancient times and medieval times. And I think India's population and India's civilization will still hold in modern times as well, sir. Fourth would be, sir, India has become a tech giant recently and has come up with a lot of development in technical aspects. We have our own agencies like CERTIN, the Indian computer emergency response team. So in that sense, sir, India is very much ready if at all such threat pops up. So these are the 4 points I can think of.
Okay, Mr. Singh, don't try to write anything. Just enjoy the session and maintain your mind here only, and try to recall the things Mr. Excalibur said. And if you have more points, then tell me that you have more points on this issue, and don't try to write. Otherwise, your mind will distract on the opposite the session. So tell me, have you any extra points on this issue?
Yes, sir. I would like to add certain points to the Excalibur.
Definitely. Go on.
One point that I would like to add is the territorial or the border disputes that we are having. And sir, in the earlier, sir, it used to be Pakistan that used to have border difference with us. But sir, now with China, sir, the problem is more prominent, and we are having problem. We are facing a problem that is at 2.5 front. That is in Pakistan, at China border, and the internal problems of India. So this is one point, sir. And second, I would like to say, apart from the civil, the cyber warfare system that is there, sir, that is growing very much, sir. And I think that is one reason where we need to work a lot, sir. Recently, there has been attacks on the critical infrastructure of our country in the state of Maharashtra. It is alleged that it was done by the Chinese group. So I think, sir, these are some more practical or more pragmatic areas where we can see the challenges. So these are the 2 points that I would like to add.
Okay, staying with you, Mr. Singh. Tell me some types of proxy wars which are already done in India or trying to continue in India by some miscreants or some terrorist groups in India.
The proxy war is something that is very widely related to the ISI of Pakistan. And sir, in the areas of J&K, sir, there are multiple militant groups that are using the proxy war method to spread terror in the country and bring instability to the areas. So this will be the first point, sir. Second, sir, I would say, sir, it is related to the left-wing extremism. There are multiple groups or the foreign players or foreign NGOs that are funding the activities that is related to, that is giving arms and that helps to give arms and ammunition to these left-wing extremism groups to promote their activity. So, sir, currently I can recall these two types of proxy wars that is being carried out in our country, sir.
Mr. Excalibur, do you want to add some more points on this?
Yes, sir. I would like to differ from Mr. Singh in the fact that, sir, left-wing extremism area is done and operated and strategized by our own people. That's why we have adopted a softer approach towards them.
Yes.
While
yes.
a proxy war is that
You are correct.
the operation and the strategy is handled by some foreign entity, sir. So in that sense, sir, Jammu and Kashmir is very right, as said by Mr. Singh. But LW is definitely getting arms from outside, funding from outside, but it won't be cannot be regarded as a proxy war as such, sir.
Okay. So, Mr. Excalibur, tell me some possible future security threats to our national security. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sir, first would be, sir, as we have seen the increase in the cyber attacks. India is a home to one of the largest cyber attacks in the world itself, sir. So that would be one. Second would be, sir, the Chinese aggression, the Chinese expansionism, which is done through not only territorial gains, as we have seen recently in the Galwan, after the Galwan clash, but also through string of pearls. So the China wants to have a hegemonic effect on the Indian Ocean region, which India is trying to counter through the help of US as well. So that is a second threat, sir. Third would be, sir, a great threat I consider is, sir, unemployment. We are currently inside our demographic dividend, and we have seen unemployment levels rising. So unemployed youth definitely caters to their absorption into organized crime, and which can indirectly fund further terrorist events in the country. So in that sense, sir, it is a grave threat as far as the Indian population is concerned. These are the three major threats I can think of, sir.
Mr. Singh, add some points on this, because Mr. Excalibur
Yes, sir.
haven't told
Yes, sir, I would like
as
to.
much as point as I have told both of you. Yes.
Okay, sir. Sir, I would like to add 2 or 3 points to it.
Hmm.
So the first thing I would say is communalism, sir. With the advent of social media, sir, the incident of communalism is rising, and there has been a recent case in Uttarakhand where some hate speech against a particular religion was perpetrated. So I think, sir, with the advancement of these social media sites, these have become a potent threat to our society. So second, I would say is the space warfare, sir. We are a country that is constantly working on to improve our space warfare, and we have adverse neighbors like China, which is a giant in space industry and can it can damage our critical infrastructure. So I think these are the 2 points that I am getting right now. So
चलिए ठीक है, तब भी आप दोनों लोगों ने सेटिस्फैक्टरी जवाब नहीं दिया, कि जैसा कि हमने आप लोगों से पहले भी पूछ रखा हुआ है और आप लोगों को एटलीस्ट 10 पॉइंट बता रखे हुए हैं। तो उनमें से कुछ पॉइंट्स हैं। देखिए, साइबर थ्रेट तो है ही। रिसेंट में इंटेलिजेंस ब्यूरो ने न्यूक्लियर डिफेंस सिस्टम की एक रिपोर्ट पेश करी हुई है, जिसमें बताया है कि साइबर हैकर्स हैं पाकिस्तान, नॉर्थ कोरिया और चाइना से, वो हमारे न्यूक्लियर डिफेंस सिस्टम को हैक करने की कई बार कोशिश कर चुके हैं। ये रिपोर्ट है, और किसकी है? जिसका आप एग्जाम देने जा रहे हैं। ड्रोन अटैक्स का बहुत पॉसिबल थ्रेट है, जिसके कारण इंडिया ने यूएस से और इजराइल के साथ ड्रोन डील्स करी हुई है। ड्रोन मशीन्स या फिर जो भी चीज कह सकते हैं आप, पूरा सिस्टम खरीदा हुआ है। बायो वारफेयर कह सकते हैं, केमिकल वारफेयर होने की पॉसिबिलिटी है, क्योंकि रिसेंट में हमने स्टाइरीन गैस का रिसाव देखा हुआ है। कहाँ? वैजाग स्टील प्लांट में, विशाखापत्तनम में। और ये चीज तो नेचुरल डिजास्टर के रूप में है, लेकिन अगर इसको कोई टारगेट करे तो ये बड़ा डिजास्टर हो सकता है। तो केमिकल वारफेयर होने का चांसेस बन सकता है। बायो वारफेयर आप लोग फेस कर रहे हैं, इसमें अगर अच्छी सी कोई रिपोर्ट आ जाए, कोई जांच हो जाए, तो हो सकता है कि पॉसिबली ये बायो वारफेयर डिक्लेयर कर दिया जाए। अब आप इसमें नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंसर्जेंसी को बढ़ाने का इंडिकेशन बोल सकते हैं, क्योंकि म्यांमार में मिलिट्री को हो जाने से वहां पे डिस्टर्बेंस होने के चांसेस हैं, और साथ ही साथ मिजोरम में इन्फिल्ट्रेशन बढ़ गए हैं। तो और बाकी यूथ टेररिज्म वगैरह हो सकता है, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट इशू जैसे कि आप लोगों ने बताया है, सिविल सोसाइटी वाला इशू आप बोल सकते हैं, क्योंकि मिस्टर अजीत डोभाल जी ने कहा हुआ है, तो बहुत बड़ी खोपड़ी ने यह जवाब दिया हुआ है, तो आप इसको अपने स्टेटमेंट में लगा सकते हैं। इसी तरह की और भी चीजें हैं, आप पुराने इंटरव्यूज उठा के देखिएगा, रिकॉल करिएगा। ठीक है, कमिंग टू मिस्टर एक्स कैलिबर। हाँ, define what are pressure groups, how they can affect our federalism or democracy or national security.
Okay, sir. Sir, pressure groups find a relevant mention in polity, sir. So they are the groups representing a community. It can be ethnic, it can be religious, or it can also have a background of a certain business or a certain particular economic background. So in that sense, sir, they try to formalize the negotiations between the government and that particular community, so that government tries to make a policy which can help them gain some advantage, either economic or religious, or in that sense, sir, it can be any advantage they want to gain, sir. So I think it's a fine mechanism, and it helps to take down corruption, to not let kitchen cabinets appear in the government. So I think it's a formal mechanism, and it should be promoted and encouraged in Indian politics.
Okay, Mr. Singh, give me some basic examples, or that examples you know about pressure groups.
So I think a common example can be some of the famous NGOs which act as a pressure group. Other are the groups that is working in the northeast region, like the NSCN Isat Moiva group, which is in constant talk with the government. Or we can also recollect some of the famous persons like Sir Medha Patekar, which have worked as a famous environmentalist.
You can collectively say that environmentalist, student groups,
Okay,
and labor class, and railway union, Mazdoor union, and Kisan union, they all are pressure groups.
Yes, sir.
so like
Okay. Now, Mr. Excalibur, define Hinduism. What is Hinduism? Because according to our politicians, they said that living in India, if either they are Muslim or Christian, they comes under Hinduism. Then what type of Hinduism they are knowing?
Okay, sir. Sir, first of all, sir, there is no single solid definition of Hinduism as such, because the word Hindu comes from the word Sindhu, because the Persians which visited India, sir, they referred to the land beyond the river Sindhu as, sir, Hindustan. So because they cannot speak S. So in that sense, sir, the land was referred to as Hindustan. The people living there were referred to as Hindu, and the religion they follow was referred to as Hinduism. So we have seen that, sir, Hinduism is simply the approach to life, which is to live and to let live. So in that sense, it is a very open civilization, sir. They practice acceptance, as we have seen across the history, that any invader which has come to India has been accepted by Indian population, and they have resided here itself, sir. They weren't treated as foreigners. So in that sense, sir, anybody who is residing in India, who is liberal, who accepts people living around him as open and do not differentiate between religions, can be referred to as Hinduism in a broad sense.
Okay. Now, Mr. Singh, tell me what is communalism and how it differs with regionalism.
So communalism is an idea where a group or a person belonging to a particular religion claims that his religion is superior to other religions. like sir, it has been in the case of the recent hate speech, sir. They have propagated against a particular religion and have asked people to take up weapons to counter these things. So this is an example of communalism, sir. And sir, regionalism is an idea where a group of people located in a particular region tends to act as a group and exert pressure on the government related to their demand. So, for example, there was a case where the state of Telangana was formed of Andhra Pradesh. So that was a classic example of regionalism, sir.
Okay, Mr. Excalibur,
Yes.
do you explain that regionalism and communalism are interconnected with each other?
Yes, sir, sure, sir. First of all, sir, in geography, there is a term called Lebensraum, which is referred to as the sense of a place. So, which means, sir, that the place where you live, you develop some emotional attachment to it, and any threat you perceive on that region leads to a charged atmosphere, and that leads to regionalism itself, sir. So, I think, sir, a region is defined by very much defined by geography and history. So, in that sense, the every part of the cultural aspects that develop in a society is very much due to geography, as we can see in India's example itself, that we have different regions, and due to different geography, different historical aspects, we have seen that different cultures have evolved, and different religions and different practices are being adopted by those people. So in that sense, a region helps develop in religion and culture. So in that sense, there is a direct link, sir.
Okay, Mr. Singh, आप हमें गांधी जी की वो 5 बातें या 5 सिद्धांत या 5 नियम बताएं जिनको आप सीख करके इंटेलिजेंस ब्यूरो में उनका इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं.
Okay, sir, I would like to take few seconds, sir.
Definitely, take your time. Excalibur, आप भी सोचिए.
Sir, I could not recall 5, but I could recall 1 or 2 that I would like to say, sir.
Carry on.
The one I can recall is the idea of Gandhiji of extremism, sir. Extremism in the sense that he believed in putting forward the demands of people in a very proper way and follow the legal path. And if that is not followed, sir, then he take extreme step. And so that step was not taken in such a way that it disturbs others. So that is one thing, sir, that teaches us to bring more accountability into our step as whatever we do the task in Saraibi. And sir, second, sir, I think, sir, he talked about, sir, greater inclusivity of different religions, which can help to, sir, bring down the communal tensions in the region, sir. As an IB officer, sir, I can follow this particular idea in this.
Okay, now Mr. Excalibur, try to give 5 points as I have asked.
Okay, sir. The most formidable point for which Gandhi is known is ahimsa, sir. So in that sense, sir, India also in its international policy has adopted ahimsa in the sense that it has made it clear in its policy that strategic policy that India will use its warheads for deterrent only, and it won't be a first strike. So in that sense, sir, India has a peaceful approach as far as international relations is considered, sir. Second would be, sir, as Mr. Singh mentioned, sir, known differentiation between castes, as we can see that Gandhi strongly opposed the communal electorates that were put up by the Britishers. So that would be one, sir. Third would be, sir, peaceful disobedience if at all we are not able to make gains as per the demands we want. So now we see that the protests readily become violent, but Gandhiji was totally opposed to violent protests, as we can see after the incident of Champaran itself. Fourth would be, sir, he was a great proponent of developing villages, because our villages were really autonomous in past, And even now we can see that majority of our population still resides in villages. So if at all villages are developed, India would easily be a developed country, surpassing
Promotion
all the
of
other
village
developed.
panchayat.
Village panchayats can be is a first step towards granting more autonomy to villages and developing villages as a whole, sir. So he wanted to develop villages, sir, definitely. So these are
Okay.
the points I can say.
Okay. Now, Mr. Singh, tell me that बिहार में शराबबंदी करना राइट टू ईट को चैलेंज करने जैसा है क्या?
Sir, as per our constitution, it is right of a citizen to eat whatever he wishes to do. But sir, if certain things have its implication on the social factor, or sir, it can have a problem related to security of other people, sir, then it can be curtailed. Like sir, it has been found that sir, there was a case of multiple of the violence related to women after drinking, sir. This was one of the thought process behind banning the liquor. And second was sir, the youth generation or the young peoples were indulging into these types of activities, sir. So which was very harmful for the development of state like Bihar, which is already so backward. So these were the two basic reasons I think that can be said about this. So,
Mr. Excalibur, do you want to add some point on this issue?
Yes, sir. It is directly mentioned in fundamental duties, sir, that as a citizen we have to stay away from intoxicants, sir. So in that sense, I think it is upholding the constitution itself, and other points, as Mr. Singh has mentioned, are pretty much right.
Okay, now Excalibur, tell me some challenges of administration in urban area एंड रूरल एरिया. मतलब मेरा पूछने का ये है, इंग्लिश मेरी थोड़ी सी गड़बड़ हो रही है. अर्बन एरिया में एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन करने में और रूरल एरिया में एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन करने में दोनों में क्या क्या मेजर चैलेंजेस फेस करने पड़ते हैं, तो आप बताइएगा. और मिस्टर सिंह आप भी रिमेम्बर करिए और आपसे ही पूछा जाएगा.
Can I take a few seconds, sir?
Yes, definitely.
Few seconds. Okay, sir. Sir, for urban, the challenges can be the first would be, sir, the land use policy, sir. So we see that more and more land needs to be taken into construction, so as to accommodate the population which is migrating in. Second would be, sir, disparity. We see that, sir, urban areas are free of development, so some people gain a lot of wealth while some still remain poor. So there is a stark difference in disparity in economic gains, as we can see in the slum areas of Dharavi in Mumbai, sir. Third would be, sir, environmental and pollution impacts of mass development, sir. So as far as urban or rural areas is considered, sir, first would be, sir, the change itself. Sir, rural areas are very much attached to their homeland, and they want to retain the agricultural practices in their own way, sir. While the developmental aspects want to include, sir, technology, want to have intensive agriculture, and do not want to have fragmented land holdings. But as we discussed earlier, there is a sense to the attachment to their homes, sir. So first is a not wanting change in itself. Second would be, sir, there is the families and the entire village acts as a family itself, sir. So they are not nuclear. So in that sense, any policy which is put forward for the development of village should cater to entire village in entirety, sir. So it should not differentiate between people living in the village. So, sir, these are the points I can think.
Okay, Mr. Singh, add some more points.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would like to add certain points, sir. Like, sir, in terms of infrastructure, sir, in sir, rural areas, the more development works or the activities of the government is towards providing the basic needs of the people. While, sir, in urban areas, it is mainly focused about improving the standard of living and improving the connectivity that is related to, sir, like telecom and different other aspects. The second, I would say, sir, in terms of in terms of law and order following, sir, in rural areas, people are mainly not aware about the rules and laws, and they are involved in that type of crime. While, sir, in urban areas, sir, the people mainly tries to find the loopholes in the law, and they try to exploit that thing, sir. These are the points, sir. Also, I would like to say, sir, in urban areas, sir, that the crimes and other activities are more moving towards non-traditional, like, sir, the cyber attacks and all these things. While in, sir, rural areas, the criminal or the law and order issues are mainly related to traditional challenges like the land disputes or personal enmity. These these are
Okay.
my points.
Okay, Mr. Singh, tell me the role of Intelligence Bureau in conducting elections in states.
Okay, sir.
Hmm.
Sir, IB is a body that is there to prevent any action, any improper action from happening. So it is the role of IB to maintain law and maintain the peace in the state and alert the agencies if there is any threat to it. So, sir, in case like if we talk about the state of Punjab, sir, there is a movement, pro Khalistan movement, and there is election as well in the upcoming days, sir. So the instability in the areas is growing, sir. So as an IB officer or sir, a person IB officer role would be to sir, have a look into the areas, the district that are more prone to such types of drugs issues and other problems, and keep a constant mechanism to check these things and alert the security agencies. Sir. Similar can be said about the northeast areas as well, sir, where there is multiple factors that can affect the internal security, sir. So there is IB tends to keep an eye on all these things and act as a watchdog to prevent any improper or illegal activities from happening and alerting the intelligence agencies, different security agencies to take proper action.
Okay, Mr. Excalibur, add some points on this.
Yes, sir, sure, sir. First of all, sir, election is a huge process in India because of its huge population. So any event which involves a lot of population at a particular place is vulnerable to an event which can disrupt the peaceful fabric of the society. So in that sense, sir, it is very much essential, sir. In our daily lives, we see that if there is an event, IB officers are present there. Secondly, sir, Indian politics is a complex process. So votes are garnered using the name of religion, using the name of caste, ethnicity, etc. So in that sense, sir, the entire community is supporting one particular political entity. So it can lead to frictions and it can lead to violence and protests as well, sir. So that would be another thing, sir. Third would be, sir. India is a growing economy. It is really powerful, and foreign states can take the advantage of the electoral process to try to manipulate the election results. So in that sense, sir, it is a formidable challenge as far as, sir, internal security is concerned. Fourth would be, sir, there can be a lot of funding so that illegal means to garner votes can be used, as we can see that money and liquor is continuously being used across India to garner votes from poor people. So that is illegal totally, and that has to be stopped as well. So these are the four main points, sir, IB officers cater to during election process.
Okay, Mr. Singh, are you agree with all these points of Mr. Excalibur?
Yes, sir. On most of his points, I agree with him, sir.
Any more points you remember right now or not?
No, sir, I couldn't remember anymore.
Okay, then I want to end this session here, and I want you both should end this with this victory sign because we have conducted.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay, all the best, both of you, for your future.
Thank you, sir.